Ancient kings and their extravagant lifestyles, tales of opulence, power, and eccentricity, from the sands of ancient Egypt to the heights of the European Renaissance. The stories of rulers who lived lives of luxury, power, and sometimes outright madness have captivated our imaginations for centuries. In this comprehensive look at some of history's most extravagant kings and queens, we'll explore the opulent lifestyles and eccentric behaviors that defined their reigns, and still intrigue us today. So sit back and join us on a fascinating journey through the past, as we decode the tales of these ancient monarchs. The Babylonian ruler Nebuchadnezzar II is perhaps best known for his first-person account of a 7-year descent into animal-like insanity. As detailed in the Old Testament book of Daniel, according to the story, the proud king was punished for his lack of faith in the Hebrews' God, which resulted in him being struck down. As a consequence, he was compelled to abandon his lavish palace and endure life in the wilderness. The tale of Nebuchadnezzar's madness became the standard perspective for understanding royal insanity in the Judeo-Christian realm. One of Nebuchadnezzar's most famous achievements was the construction of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. This massive multi-tiered garden was said to have been built to please his wife, who missed the greenery of her homeland. The gardens were an engineering marvel, showcasing Nebuchadnezzar's wealth and power. Caligula, the Roman emperor notorious for his cruelty and eccentricity, is often considered the epitome of a mad king. His lavish projects, sadism, and bizarre behavior have been well documented and continue to intrigue historians and the general public alike. Caligula once ordered his army to construct a 2-mile-long floating bridge so he could gallop along it on his horse. In another episode, he commanded his troops to plunder the sea by gathering shells in their helmets. He practiced facial contortions to terrify his subjects, and even attempted to appoint his horse, Incitatus, to high office. Henry VI, who is portrayed in a 3-part Shakespearean drama cycle, struggled with mental illness during his later years in life. Simultaneously, his kingdom experienced territorial losses to France and plunged into the chaotic era of the War of the Roses. His first full mental breakdown occurred in 1453, leaving him in an uncommunicative stupor for over a year. He was ultimately deposed, exiled, and murdered in 1471. During Henry's reign, England saw significant losses to France, culminating in the loss of much of its territory on the continent. The kingdom also faced internal strife, as the War of the Roses pitted the houses of Lancaster and York against each other in a battle for the throne. The Zhongdu Emperor, one of the most notorious rulers of the Ming Dynasty, was known for his foolishness and cruelty. He led capricious military expeditions and frequently gave orders to an imaginary double named General Zhu Shao. His sadistic tendencies were further demonstrated when he ordered a senior eunuch to be executed by a 3-day process of slow slicing. The Zhongdu Emperor's reign was marked by poor decisions and a lack of focus on important matters of state. His reliance on the eunuch Liao Jin led to widespread corruption within the government, and his capricious behavior further weakened the empire. Joanna of Castile, also known as Joanna la Loca, was a tragic figure whose family and rivals conspired to keep her confined in asylums throughout her life. As the daughter of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, Joanna was married off to Philip the Handsome of Burgundy at age 16, when a series of deaths made her heir apparent to her mother's throne. Her husband kept her confined in an attempt to press his claims for the Castilian throne. Joanna's confinement continued for decades, even after her father and husband had died. Her teenage son Charles, with whom she was made a co-monarch, continued to keep her imprisoned, creating a fictional world to keep her in isolation. Ivan IV, known as Ivan the Terrible, was the first Tsar of all Russia. A brilliant and ruthless warrior, Ivan expanded Moscow's influence across Eastern Europe and instituted wide-ranging reforms. He was also known as a sadistic ruler, taking pleasure in torturing and executing members of the nobility. In 1581, Ivan committed a horrific act by killing his own son and heir in a fit of rage. Despite his cruel and fearsome reputation, Ivan's reign is remembered as one of the most respected in Russia's history. His ability to consolidate power and expand his empire left a lasting impact on the nation's development. Rudolf II, one of the most eccentric rulers of the European Renaissance, was a passionate collector and patron of the arts, sciences, and pseudoscience. His castle complex in Prague housed a vast menagerie of animals and a cabinet of curiosities, filled with human and natural artifacts. Throughout his lifetime, Rudolf experienced a fluctuating pattern of extreme highs and lows, frequently retreating from the royal court for weeks on end. Rudolf's support for astronomers Tycho Brahe and Johannes Kepler laid the groundwork for the scientific revolution. However, his willingness to believe in almost anything also led him to support astrologers, alchemists, and mystics of every stripe. Renownedly mocked as an old, mad, blind, despised, and dying king, George III displayed initial signs of mental illness during the early years of his reign, which coincided with significant historical events such as the American Revolution, the French Revolution, and the Napoleonic Wars. His illness, characterized by hallucinations, paranoia, and abdominal pains, has been retroactively diagnosed by some medical historians as the enzyme disorder porphyria. George III's reign saw the loss of the American colonies following the Declaration of Independence, which was addressed to him. Despite his mental struggles, George's reign also included significant advancements in science, agriculture, and industry. Carlota, the first and only Habsburg Empress of Mexico, led a strange and tragic life. Born Charlotte of Belgium, she married Maximilian, the Archduke of Austria, and became the Empress of Mexico after a group of Mexican arch-conservatives and France's Napoleon III deposed the liberal president Benito Juarez. Her husband's execution in 1867 and her subsequent mental breakdown led to her confinement in a Belgian castle for the rest of her life. Carlota and Maximilian's rule in Mexico was marked by their efforts to win over the Mexican people and promote liberal policies. However, their loss of support from the conservative backers and the withdrawal of French troops ultimately led to the collapse of their empire. Ludwig II, the Mad King of Bavaria, is best known for his fairy tale palace, Neuschwanstein, and his enthusiastic patronage of the arts, particularly the composer Richard Wagner. His castle-building projects left him in significant debt, and in 1886, he was declared permanently unfit to rule by doctors who had never examined him. The following day, Ludwig and his personal physician were found dead under mysterious circumstances in a Bavarian lake. Though Ludwig's extravagant lifestyle and tragic end have earned him a reputation as a mad king, his contributions to the arts and the enduring beauty of his castles continue to captivate visitors from around the world. As we have seen, the lives of these ancient kings and queens remain a source of fascination for us today, as their extravagant lifestyles and eccentric behaviors continue to intrigue and mystify. If you're eager to learn more about the captivating stories of these rulers, be sure to explore more episodes of Decoding the Past, where we delve deeper into history's most intriguing tales.